There we go, thanks. So in the past, we called this like the top 9 or the top 10 hidden features. These aren't ranked, these are just 5 things that I thought would be of interest to clients that either are unaware of them or they might have passed sort of at the bottom of a notification. So let's just go ahead and jump through them. 4 of these are part of both the Knowledge and the Enterprise Edition, and 1 is just part of the Enterprise Edition. So number 5 is a test environment. About 30% or so of our clients, I think we have 75 plus, have enabled the test environment. This is a clone of your environment, of your production account as of the 1st of the month. It's refreshed automatically. It's accessible at whatever your subdomain is, .test.datacookbook.com. So if you don't know if you have one, you could go check that out. And if it resolves to your account, then you have one. It's going to have all the content that's in your production account as of the end of the month. So users and definitions and whatever else you've been working on. It's ideal, I think, for testing out workflow, for working with your file imports, whether that's definition specifications or whether that's related to data systems if you're an enterprise account. It's a great place for users to play around because anything that you create in there will get wiped out at the end of the month. And it's easy to get one. Just send us a note at support@datacookbook.com. We'll happily set you up. All right, our next hidden feature is part of the workflow. These are, I think we call them assignment mappings, and actually assignment mappings ship out of the box with the default workflows. What they do is they allow you to attach groups of users to workflow conditions. And so the one that you see immediately when you open up your account is based on functional area, right? So you set up user groups who can be associated with functional areas, and they show up in the data steward role in the definition approval workflow. So why don't you skip to the next slide? This is what this sort of looks like. So this is a functional area assignment mapping. You can also do assignment mappings by data system, by classification code if you're working on definitions. On the specification side, you can do it by specification type. And the idea is that when an object in the workflow, definition, specification, quality rule, whatever, sort of falls into the stage where this mapping is invoked, then the notification or the ability to work is routed based on the condition, in this case functional area. So a student definition here would be something that the enterprise data stewards or the managers of student and student life would work on. And notice, by the way, this doesn't have to be a one-to-one relationship. Go ahead and switch to the next slide where I think we have a picture of the edit mode. Right, so on the left-hand side, I have my workflow condition, and on the right-hand side, I can choose one or as many user groups as I need to attach to that. In this particular case, what we have is a setup where, you know, maybe one user group has one member, and that person is unavailable, say. So you have this set up as a backup. Anyway, the assignment mapping allows you to, as the Cookbook engine, to handle all the routing of objects rather than having to create conditions yourself at various stages in the workflow. Our next feature has to do with technical definition permissions. This is really any technical information that you're capturing in the Cookbook. So remember, in a definition, you can have a technical definition for every data system. In your specifications, you have a technical details field on one of the tabs. And in the Enterprise Edition, you have quality rules where you also can capture technical information, again, by data system. So what you can do is you can set it up so that some people cannot see these definitions, or you can set it up so that maybe an editor can edit a functional definition and they can view a technical definition, but they cannot make changes to it. These are privileges that you grant at the user group level. Why don't we go to the next slide here? You can see kind of what this looks like. So you are granting edit or manage or view privilege on specifications or definitions, and perhaps quality rules in the Enterprise Edition. And then outside of that, you have this technical information. So all of your data systems, whether they're grouped or whether they're just all together in the cookbook, and you can grant permissions on a group or a particular data system, and you can break it out by functional area. So what we're looking at here is somebody who would have technical editing permissions for all definitions and admissions across all data systems. I think the next slide shows us a what this would look like if I go take a look at my user profile in the cookbook and I scroll down. I can see a section about technical permissions, and in this case you can see this display is a little bit different. I've got the data system down the left hand side, and I've got the functional areas sort of across the horizontal. Again, this is a situation where a person is an editor for all of those, but a person could have a real mix and match. Let's scroll down to the next slide to see what this looks like for somebody who has this permission suppressed, right? So it's a situation where users looking at a definition, and for this particular data system, and perhaps for all of them, that user does not have the permissions to view. And so what it looks like in the cookbook is a simple notification. All right, so that's 3. We got 2 more to go. Data quality attributes are a feature of the data quality feature set in the Enterprise Edition. Real quickly, for folks who are not familiar with it, you can report data quality issues, and there's a process to record the resolution. You can manage your reference data, right? This typically refers to codes and data bits that can be used as part of other data objects, so lists of valid values or code tables. And you can create data quality rules, right? And the data quality rule can be related to multiple definitions. For example, many folks may have seen us with a data quality rule in our demonstration account about GPA range, which we say it's got to be between 0 and 4. Well, you might have 14 definitions of GPA in your data cookbook, and so you want to have that data quality rule as part of all of them. Well, you can also make a special category of data quality rule. This is an attribute or embedded rule, and that has a one-to-one relationship to a definition, and it really exists inside the definition. Why don't we scroll to the next slide and see what it looks like. So when I'm working inside it, it looks exactly, actually this is a regular quality rule, right? This is what it looks like, and that on the right-hand side, I can see this has been related to 3 definitions. When I'm working on a quality attribute, it looks very similar, right? I choose a validation type. In this case, I chose range, and so when I do that, I have some other fields that pop up around it. I have a rule severity. These are the same features that are available as part of an independent quality rule. And but what happens after I save this is visible inside a definition, right? So what I'm looking at there is the bottom of a functional definition. And then I'm looking at my source field, my classification code field, and a custom attribute. Right below that, a quality attribute, right? In this case, it's the range. It says it's between 0 and 100. And I can have, by the way, multiple quality attributes for a particular definition. The other thing I want to draw your attention to here is that these attributes, just like quality rules, go through an approval workflow, right? So this one has been approved, but it could be in some kind of in progress stage for quite some time. This workflow directly impacts your definition approval workflow. So if I have a quality attribute that's in progress, I cannot approve the definition. So they work hand in hand, and in this case, the quality attribute really becomes another field or set of fields inside our definition. So this is not going to be appropriate for every definition or every quality rule, but for some of them, it's going to be exactly the right relationship. Right, let's move to our final hidden feature. This is far from hidden, of course, which I've called this bulk action. So we introduced, about the time we introduced the custom workflow, the ability to look at your definitions or your specifications in a queue. And that queue allows you to see all the definitions that are not yet approved or not yet completed, whatever completion looks like for you, and to filter them on a number of areas, some of the ones that you'll already see in your browse view, and some of them based on some workflow attributes, right? So the name of the workflow itself, or the stage the object is in. Let's scroll to the next slide here so you can see what this looks like. Well, all of these objects are part of the same queue functionality, right? So if I go to my definitions tab and click on definition queue, I'll see all of them. But from within that, I can change to specification approval or collection approval or whatever kind of object I have that's available to me. The default behavior is to show me things that are in progress and things that I can work on. But those are checkboxes that I can uncheck if I need to see things that have been closed or something that somebody else might be expected to work on. The other thing I can do I have another slide that shows this? I think so, is I can populate these filters and then I can get to a set of definitions that I can all act on together. So what I can do in this case is I can say I want all the definitions that are part of this default approval process. I want all the ones that are in the review stage, and then I want all the actions that are approve. And once I have that, I don't have a picture of it, but once I choose all that, then I have the option to approve all three of those at once. Or if I have something that's in draft and I want to send it to the next stage, I can identify the full set. I think there's a maximum of 30 that displays on a page, but at any rate, that's a pretty sizable amount. And so that allows me to push things through to the next stage, whatever that looks like, without having to work on each one individually.